What is up, guys? It's ya boy Rick. Still haven't gotten a single good IS Luna Cactus here. Guys, thank you so much for stopping by. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button to support the channel and let me know what you think my next intro should be. That comment section, it's out of control. Alright, today, this video is a pretty interesting one, and that's because the initial goal was to find out which is the best legendary rocket launcher to pair with the brand new Gjallarhorn Exotic rocket launcher added with the 30th anniversary update to Destiny 2. The Gjallarhorn's intrinsic perk actually provides Wolfpack rounds, essentially extra seeking projectiles that will do more than normal damage to other fireteam members using non-exotic rocket launchers. And after some initial tests, it became very clear that if you are using a Gjallarhorn and your teammate is using a legendary rocket launcher with certain damage increasing perks, they are going to be doing more damage than you with the Gjallarhorn. So therefore, hypothetically, it's better to use one Gjallarhorn in a fire team of 6, like damaging a raid boss for example, and then 5 legendary rockets than all 6 Gjallarhorns. However, we encountered some twists and turns within our testing and got some results that challenge the currently held beliefs within the community. So if you're someone going, bro, why'd you even make this video? Everyone knows clown cartridge is the best choice. You might want to stick around, cause it might not be. Alright, so the first test was a pretty simplistic one. We took a bunch of different rockets with a bunch of different damage increasing perks. There's actually a lot of them. The ones in question were Explosive Light, where you're going to do, I think, 25% more damage as long as you collected an orb of power beforehand. Then we have Clown Cartridge, which is going to increase the magazine size after a reload to 2. We have Lasting Impression, that's going to provide another substantial damage increase, but cause the rocket to explode later on after impact. Cluster Bomb makes more smaller explosives spawn after impact. And then lastly, Vorpal Weapon, which is going to increase the damage against bosses. And then we do have a Gjallarhorn, obviously, to trigger Wolfpack rounds and all these different choices. Now, notably, I want to mention that Adrenaline Junkie is missing. Adrenaline Junkie does a great amount of damage, like something like 50% additional damage if you get a final blow with a grenade. However, we're going to be testing like raid scenarios, and having all 6 people all get grenade final blows is about as impractical as you can imagine. So while it does have great potential, practicality is definitely its downside. So we took all these different rockets and went to Callie, and then we waited until she was perfectly still. The Gjallarhorn person shot, triggered Pack Hunter for everyone else, and then we all shot our different rockets, and here are the results. Here's how much damage one shot does with the added Wolfpack rounds. So you can see near the bottom, Taco had the Gjallarhorn and did around 49,000 damage. Very interestingly, right below her was Vorpal Weapon. That's right, I did less damage than the Gjallarhorn for whatever reason. We'll touch on that in a sec, but then next up was the Clown Cartridge user, which is basically just a normal control rocket because Clown doesn't add any extra damage. After that, it was me with Cluster Bomb doing 53,000 damage. Then much higher was the Lasting Impression user doing 62,000 damage. And then on the top was actually the Explosive Light user with 62, almost 63,000 damage. Alright, so some pretty interesting results there, and you would see this and go, okay, well, Lasting and Explosive Light are the clear front runners. Well, we actually did another test here, same exact thing, and here are the results. Basically, it's pretty much the same as last time. However, we did have the Vorpal Weapon user do slightly more damage this time than the Gjallarhorn user, but again, other than that, the placements haven't changed. So yeah, very strange result with Vorpal there for the first time. The second time it did appropriately do more, but it being pretty down low on the spectrum would likely indicate that the Wolfpack rounds aren't affected by Vorpal. That's kind of the big factor. Are the additional Wolfpack rounds affected by these damage increasing perks or not? Well, if I was to stop there, I would say, okay, explosive and lasting, best rockets, alright guys, everyone use them. But again, I wanted to move on to a more realistic raid damage phase scenario, so what we did is just tried to bake the Templar with a bunch of different options and then simply timed it. That's going to give you a great idea and a great average out of, all the people doing damage, how fast can these weapons actually melt. So the first test here is with 6 Gjallarhorns as kind of a control. Obviously, if the times are worse than this, that's not good. It would really question why are you using, anything over the Gjallarhorn if you're taking longer to kill the Templar than 6 Gjallarhorns. In any event, the 6 Gjallarhorns melted in just over 18 seconds. All right. Now, with that in mind, let's move on to the first choice. So we're going to have, obviously, one person spamming Gjallarhorn always. One guy is the shield guy for the encounter, and the other 4 are all spamming the next rocket, and in this case, that next rocket is specifically the Ascendancy with Explosive Light. This also has Impact Casing for even more damage. For all our tests, we're trying to have Impact Casing, of course. And for this test, we actually didn't do very well at first. It should be noted that we made sure to test this like multiple times, and we're giving you the best runs. But with the Ascendancy, the best time we got here was just actually above 17 seconds. So just barely faster than the Gjallarhorn, but notably faster than all 6 Gjallarhorns. Like, that's something that you should keep in mind. Alright, but moving on from there, the next rocket is a Hezen Vengeance time lost with Vorpal Weapon and then Impact Casing. So in this case, Vorpal Weapon did terrible in the single shot damage, but actually testing it against the boss, holy crap, it melted in just over 15 seconds. And this was a very surprising result. Like, I didn't expect this. We did have a very clean damage phase, but I mean, if Explosive Light is so much better, if it's doing like 20% more, 15% more damage easily, you would expect it to at least tie, not be a couple seconds slower. And I think what we're seeing here is the difference between, with Explosive Light, the first 6 shots, when you have Explosive Light times 6, that's the max you can get, are fantastic. But for those last couple rockets, if you do go beyond that, it drops down in damage considerably, whereas Vorpal is very consistent. Every single time, it's going to give that now 10% damage bonus. So again, just a surprising result. Not to say that, Explosive Light is completely trash or anything, just that Vorpal might be better than you expect. Moving on from there, however, guys, the next one we're testing is going to be actually the same as Vengeance, but I'm switching to Cluster Bomb. So, how much damage can this do? Well, again, it was substantially better than we expected. This time melting in again, just over 15 seconds. So another very surprising result. I didn't expect Cluster Bomb to be this good, but certainly, it combined with a Gjallarhorn user is a force to be reckoned with. However, it's time to move on from there, and now we're going to test Lasting Impression. Now, you may notice I don't have Impact Casing, but thankfully for specifically Lasting, it's like a 2% difference because all the damage is put into that later explosion. All my teammates have it, I just wasn't lucky enough to get it, but just wanted to be upfront about that. However, with Lasting, when we go to town, our best time was almost 19 seconds. So, substantially worse than Vorpal and Cluster Bomb. Now, yes, admittedly, the end of the damage phase did get a bit scuffed. The detention sphere spawned, it resulted in a teammate dying in the last couple of seconds, but still, everyone else was spamming their rockets, and that detention sphere lasted no longer than the one that also spawned in the 6 Gjallarhorn's damage phase, so that should kind of equal out. In fact, playing in the background is a different run we did with Lasting. No one died, and still, similar result, in fact, just over 19 seconds. The problem with Lasting Impression is literally in the name. Lasting Impression. The rocket lasts on the target for a while before it explodes. And seemingly the Wolfpack rounds actually spawn only with that delayed explosion. So you have a couple of seconds where you're not really doing any damage at all before everything starts exploding and the damage starts really adding up. So, Again, this is why we do multiple tests, guys, because you may be walking away from just the one-shot damage test going, well, lasting is the best choice. But then in a scenario like this, where you have a raid boss that doesn't have a ton of health, or you have a scenario where you have a very limited window to put a lot of burst DPS in, lasting is not the best choice. If the boss had double the health or something like that, yes, I'm sure lasting would start to do better and better and better over time, but you're not always going to have those raid scenarios. I mean, I'm showing you literally a raid scenario where that over time damage, it doesn't build up quick enough, and therefore, in this case, something like Vorpal, something like even Cluster is going to outperform it. A very interesting result. But guys, moving on from there, the last perk we're testing is Clown Cartridge. Now for this, I am actually using a pretty unique one, a Tomorrow's Answer, an early one that does have Clown Cartridge because it also has impact casing, and all my teammates are using Clown Cartridge rocket launchers as well. So this is another one that a large part of the community thinks is the best thing to use here. How did it perform? Well, not great. We actually clock in at around 19 seconds when we are getting that final kill. 19 seconds. Yes, like for 1 second, I shot a Cartesian at a bubble to free like one teammate. The other teammates like just kept going, but this was another surprising result. Why are we not going way ahead in terms of DPS with Clown Cartridge? It gives you 2 rounds in the magazine. And I think I know the answer. For all of these tests, we were using a Lunafaction boot well. And that was because I wanted to have everyone reload pretty darn fast. Because generally, if you're doing DPS with rockets, you're going to at least put on rocket loader mods, or you are going to use a Lunafaction well. So as a result, if you're using a Lunafaction well and it makes you reload super fast, being able to shoot, reload super fast, and then shoot again, the time between those shots is pretty much the same time as the super slow rate of fire of rocket launchers. So to get off 2 shots in the same magazine, again, that becomes pretty darn similar, if not exactly the same, to shooting, reloading super fast in a Luna well, and then shooting again. So Clown Cartridge is going to appear better than it actually is if you're not in a Lunafaction well, if you're not using reload mods and you do have those super slow reloads. But if you've accounted for that, again, as we've showed here, it actually isn't, that great of an option in terms of DPS. So, we arrive at the end of the video, the part where I hope to say, well guys, the best thing to pair with the Gjallarhorn is blank, and make sure you all have blank as a perk. But I can't really do that because our results are so crazy. We're getting different results than other community members. Like, what the heck is the actual answer? What should you guys use with the Gjallarhorn? Well, I think it depends on what you're trying to do. Simplistically, Vorpal and Cluster had some clear, great results in the raid tests. Like, they performed pretty darn well. It's clear that, if you have 5 guys with Cluster or 5 guys with Vorpal and 1 Gjallarhorn guy, that should be better than 6 Gjallarhorn guys. Okay, that's pretty clear. However, Explosive Light really didn't do that fantastically. If you really want to account for it and want to set up, the ability to have more than just that initial 6 with storage, potentially it can start to pull ahead. Now, as for Lasting Impression, that has a ton of damage potential, but if you're looking for burst DPS, that's not the answer. Like, clearly, that is not the answer. Overall DPS, if you are just, trying to solo something, then it might actually be the answer, and then it becomes potentially the best thing to use. So that's another thing to consider. And then as for Clown Cartridge, I don't think it's the best choice at all if you have anything to improve your reload substantially. If you're in a Luna well, if you have double loader on, something like that, then I think you're looking at the other options we already mentioned. But if you don't have that stuff, if you have a normal well, all of that stuff, then I think there is definitely an argument for Clown Cartridge. So really, at the end of the day, the answer is use whatever best fits the job you're trying to do. But definitely pairing one Gjallarhorn with 5 yoked legendary rockets is a great idea, and often it will outperform 6 normal Gjallarhorns, which is definitely the important part. That's what you want to do if you're trying to go for a rocket melt. And so guys, that's it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. If you want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter. That's linked in the description down below. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.